I've been visiting SeaWorld Orlando for quite some time now, and I have a pretty good feel for all the rides at the park. So for today's video, let's count down the top 10 best rides at SeaWorld Orlando as of 2022. Coming in hot at the number 10 spot, we have Big Bird's Twirl and Whirl in the Sesame Street land of the park. SeaWorld Orlando doesn't have that many thrill rides compared to other parks in the world, so a couple of the kiddie rides do make the list. This is a nice teacup flat ride themed to the famous Sesame Street character, Big Bird. The ride vehicles are extremely tiny, and there is a noticeable maximum spin limit, as I'll put it. You can't spin that far out of control. Not much else to say here other than I highly recommend this one for little kids that are fans of Sesame Street. Number 9 is going to be Super Grover's Boxcar Derby. It's a small family coaster located again in the Sesame Street area of the park. And yes, this is the last Sesame Street ride on the list, don't worry. Super Grover's Boxcar Derby is honestly one of the roughest kiddie coasters I've ever been on. The trains are extremely long, and there is an on-ride photo so that you can potentially capture your child's first roller coaster experience. Alright, here we go, the actual rides, sort of. Number 8 is the iconic Sky Tower, located in the center of the park. This is a 400-foot tall observation tower, and you definitely feel that height once you're up there. I've done this ride a couple of times, and honestly, it's pretty fun. You get some great views of not only SeaWorld Orlando, but Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando, and of course, their new park being constructed right now, Universal's Epic Universe. Currently, the Sky Tower is closed for temporary maintenance, but I do expect it to reopen fairly soon, as evident based on recent testing. For the 7th spot on the list, we have Antarctica Empire of the Penguin. This is a trackless dark ride located in the, well, Antarctica section of the park. It opened in 2013 to divisive reviews as the attraction's physical duration is extremely short, especially for a trackless dark ride. Just like the Sky Tower, this ride is currently closed. It'll be much longer till this one opens back up to the public, but in the meantime you can still enter the building and see live penguins. At number 6 we have Infinity Falls, the Intamin River Rapids ride. You will get wet. I really can't decide if either this ride or Popeyes at Islands of Adventure is the wettest water ride I've ever ridden. On one hand, Popeyes absolutely drenches you again and again with countless water effects throughout the ride's long layout. But on the other hand, Infinity Falls has this one section with 3 hills that just throws gallons upon gallons of water into your raft. As a river rapids attraction, this is definitely one of the stronger ones out there in terms of theming, layout, and of course how wet you get. This ride also has a very unique vertical elevator lift structure, which really makes this river rapid stand out from the rest. Coming in at the number 5 spot is Manta, the B&M Flying Roller Coaster. This is a great thrilling attraction. Just to start off, the queue line is SeaWorld's best, no question. Rockwork, fish, more rockwork, more fish. Alright, it's basically just those two things over and over again, but it works. For the ride itself, it's easily one of the most intense roller coasters out there. The pretzel loop in particular stands out the most because it just forces your entire body back into the seat for around 5 full seconds. There's also a few other twists and turns throughout the layout, and depending on what side of the train you sit on, you'll get a slightly different experience each time because of those cool water effects towards the end of the ride. Number 4 is Journey to Atlantis. This mock water coaster is mostly a water ride, but it still technically counts as a roller coaster. It's got 2 drops, one that pulls some decent laterals and the other some nice floater airtime in the back row. You don't get too wet on this attraction unless you're seated towards the front of the ride vehicle. Journey to Atlantis is the best overall attraction in the entire park, with its nice mix of theming and thrills. Taking the bronze trophy, we have Kraken, the old school B&M looper located right next to Journey to Atlantis. This thing is intense. It's relentless from start to finish with only one small break in the middle of the ride's layout. Every inversion on here is intense and whips you through it like no other. SeaWorld recently refurbished this coaster by giving it an entirely new color scheme and updating the queue line. Kraken is a really solid coaster, easily the most thrilling in the entire park. For the 2nd place spot, we have Icebreaker, the new for 2022 Premier Rides multi-launch family roller coaster. Wow, that was a mouthful. To sum this ride up, it's not really a family coaster. Icebreaker arguably has the strongest airtime moments in the entire park, with a couple of its hills towards the start of the ride, the drop off the top hat in the back row, and a few other airtime hills throughout its quick but forceful layout. The restraints on this ride are not the greatest, and it is a really tight fit in those trains, so keep that in mind when boarding this coaster. And of course, the #1 best ride at SeaWorld Orlando has to go to Mako, the 2016 B&M hypercoaster which opened to rave reviews. This ride is all about airtime. Mako has quite possibly one of my favorite moments on any coaster, the legendary 5-second floater hill. You just get sent from your seat and stay in the air hugging that restraint for around 5 seconds. And this ride is really smooth too, so that's another thing to keep in mind when talking about Mako, currently the best ride at SeaWorld Orlando. So there we have it guys, my top 10 favorite rides at SeaWorld Orlando. What'd you guys think of the list? I know many of you have differing opinions, and I would really like to see them all in the comments down below, as I love to interact with you guys. Oh, and make sure to subscribe to the channel with those post notifications on so you don't miss out on any other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll be sure to see you guys out on the horizon. The theme park horizons.